Welcome to another video about another philosophical thought that came to mind the other day. Now, this one, it's going to be probably fairly controversial, but it's something I've kind of thought about for a while and I kind of am now able to put into words, if that makes sense. So, it's basically the idea is the existence isn't about right and wrong, it's about what you do or do not wish to do. Now, that's kind of vague, right? And my interpretation of this is that existence, like living existence, people existence, I'm existing, everybody else is existing, isn't about someone else's set of right or wrongs. It isn't about other people's opinions on what someone should do or should not. It's about how you feel and what you want to do as an individual. It's because at the end of the day, the decisions we make are based upon how we feel. Yeah, there's certain logical steps, but every logical step in our society or step we make is based upon emotion or feeling how someone wants to do something. If they want to go to school for something, if they want to go to school for something else, like if they want to be a doctor, then they'll go to med school, whatever. If they want to be a financial advisor, they'll get a degree in finance, that sort of thing. Like if they want to do something, they're going to do that regardless. And I just think that people shouldn't be pushed along in certain paths because that's how society views they should be, or that's the next step. Anyways, the idea that you look at the world from a view that isn't impacted by another person's thinking and you make decisions based in your life solely on what you think and how you feel based on your experiences and what other people think you should feel, not what it's how you should feel and not how other people think you should feel. And the purpose of thinking with this idea is that you can freely act in your life without being distracted by other people's opinions on how people should act in any given scenario, because at the end of the day it's your life and you should live it the way you want to based upon how you feel, not how others feel. And how I kind of personally use this is the idea of when it comes to my life, and I have incorporated this idea, or at least I've tried in a couple different ways to stop caring about what other people think, because a lot of times everyone's going to care what other people think because that's just how humans are. We're going to care that someone hates us for doing this thing or whatever to a certain degree. Some people have it mastered to a certain degree, but at the end of the day, 99% of people are just not going to be able, are we're not these emotionless like husks just existing, like we care about other people's opinions regardless of how the steps we make in our own lives. But our society, regardless of where you live in and should grow and how it shaped you, we should just stop caring about what other people think time and time again. Because our society, regardless of where you live and grow up, has shaped us in a way that has, in a way, closed their minds off from what we could be like. In the case of general consensus, at least, is that everyone should go to primary school, so go to elementary, middle, high school, and then go to college, and then go work for some job after you get a degree, get a job that's with that degree, obviously, and then work that job for the rest of your life. Hope it has good benefits, whatever, and then you just do whatever in your free time, but that job is you. That is the rest of your life, whatever. But that now I did end up going to college. And for me personally, that was the whole consensus was I should go to college, and it may be privileged compared to people, whatever, but I did end up going and I did graduate, but I have at the beginning, I have now no intention of actually using that degree for anything. Like, yes, it's something, and honestly, for me at this point, it's more of just something that I can throw in, hopefully, investors' faces if I do start a business at some point or do any something like that, and just show my family that I committed myself to that, because yes, college does cost a lot of money, but it also does show people that you are committed to something and you committed yourself to doing extra schooling. Whether I agree that it should cost as much as it does, of course, is not the thing, not the best thing in the world, but at the end of the day, it is showing my commitment towards that. So I guess it was a benefit, but regardless of that, I it I realized after graduating college that I didn't really want to follow the path that so many others around me have followed, just doing this, going to college, getting a job, whatever. And coming to that realization, as of recent, I started to break my current perception of the world and how people interact in a way that has led me to caring less about what other people think. And I should put more focus on what I feel like doing rather than just what makes sense or what logically makes sense based upon how society views or the people around me view, like the actions I should take and that sort of thing. This caused me to work on a lot of my side projects that I enjoy. And well, I figure out the next steps in my life because I have a degree, yes, but there's also so many things that I want to do, and I don't want to be restrained and put in this box where everyone is meant to do this one thing or this group of things. Like everyone's just supposed to contribute to society in a certain way, and that's just how it is. Like I don't like that, and I'm trying to break off as much as I can from that, but it is difficult, and a lot of people find themselves just in the same cycle over and over again. But that is one of the things why I'm creating these videos so that I have an outlet to expand on my thoughts and hopefully others will not only understand me and my perspective, but more importantly, find those who challenge my perspective. Because obviously it's great if people agree with you, but at the end of the day, I don't want that wouldn't be the purpose of it. So if you do feel like something I said is completely stupid and it's dumb, please let me know and I will think over it again because these are just my thoughts. I've talked to a couple other people to gain these opinions on certain things, but at the end of the day, it is just my opinion and obviously there's billions of other people in this world and they have probably better opinions than mine, at least some of them. So obviously feel free for that. So I'd like to learn and grow more from differing ideas or better ideas that people think of. But this philosophy is definitely a big one if you think about it, and it's something that you can just go about in your daily life, just thinking about just when you're presented with situations or when you start to question why you do certain things and if those things are actually things you feel like doing or if they're things that someone else thinks would be best for you. You know what I mean? And is it something that are you just being led along a path with a carrot and the pig? You know what I mean? Like, are you just being led along, or are you actually pushing down a path that you want to push down or go towards? You know what I mean? Now, the main things, key takeaways, I would say, from this kind of philosophy idea, whatever. I know what I just said doesn't make completely ignore. I'm not trying to say completely ignore the opinions of others. Just take their opinions in and leave the final decision up to your own thoughts and feelings, regardless of their opinions. And there may be right and wrongs in the forms of laws, which fortunately, are things we do have to follow because that is how people are safe in some, and obviously there's a lot of conspiracy of certain laws and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, those are laws. We have to follow them. There's not really much we can do. And I'm not saying you shouldn't do those because you obviously should because you don't want to break the law. But there isn't a right and wrong when deciding the path you want to take, is more along the lines of what I'm thinking. And again, in accordance with laws, but I am trying to say I'm making your own decisions based on what you think is right or wrong, whether it be a job or where you want to live or any real big decision in your life. Like it should be based on feeling, not on how other people think you should act or the next steps other people think you should take. And now, if you're thinking, like, this sounds like a lot of work, then that's fair because you can ignore me and continue living your life the way you have been. But if you have listened to me rant for this long, something tells me you're at least 1% interested in what I have to say. Now, if that is the case, or you're at least a little interested, or you want to try out this interesting philosophy or way of thinking, then uh, now if you're thinking that sounds like a lot of work, then that's fair. And you can ignore me and keep living your life the way you have been. But if you have listened to me rant for this long, something tells me you're at least a little bit, maybe 1% even, interested in what I have to say. Then, if you're at least a little bit interested, then try out this interesting way of thinking and tell me when slash if you think the world will ever change itself from the current way of thinking, heavily based in its current way of being heavily based on others' opinions, or will we be stuck in the cycle till our race's extinction? Now, with that, I hope you enjoyed this random thought I have, and I hope to see you next time.